What's up, you guys? My name is Aubrey and this is my channel, and today I want to talk about the $1.9 trillion stimulus package that was passed in the House late last night. So in this video, I want to break down what exactly is included, what is not included, and kind of more importantly, what the next steps are and what the timeline is for this package to be passed and thus for you to receive your stimulus check. So let's get started. Now, before we dig into the details of this stimulus package, I would like to thank the sponsor of this video, Cover. Now, Cover is a financial safety net for gig workers, and if you don't know what that is, let me explain. Whenever you enter the gig economy, you are for the most part on your own financially. That means that if you get sick, if you're in a car accident, if you're not able to work for whatever reason, your income stream is cut at the source. This is a scary thought, and it's something that deters a lot of people from becoming self-employed in the world of gig work. But Cover can help you with that. Cover provides a financial safety net for gig workers through providing services like paid time off, sick leave, and paid cash advances in the case you need money quickly. They also offer resources like accounting, bookkeeping, and medical telehealth professionals. If you're interested in exploring Cover and some of the services that they offer, then they have provided the viewers of this channel a link which will give you guys 1 month free of Cover with no long-term contracts, no commitments, and no obligations. So if you're interested in checking that out, follow the link down in the description below or in the comments section of this video. Thank you, Cover, for sponsoring this video. So now that we got that out of the way, let's dig into this $1.9 trillion stimulus package. So as you guys know, there's currently a stimulus package that is being negotiated by lawmakers, and this is getting passed through a process known as budget reconciliation, which is a way to expedite and fast-track budget-related bills. And it makes it so that bills only require a simple majority in the Senate rather than the typical threshold that is required. And this is the process that is being used to pass this bill, and it's a process that's been taking place over the last couple of weeks. Well, late last night, this bill was passed in the House. This bill passed with a 219 to 212 vote. So 219 votes for yes, 212 votes for no, and it was not a bipartisan bill because no Republican lawmakers voted in favor of this bill. Included in this bill are $1,400 stimulus checks in the form of direct payments. Now, this is something that has changed slightly since the last two stimulus checks that people have received, and there is a chance that you may have received some funds from the last two checks, but you may not receive anything from this check. That is because of the fact that the way that the funds are being phased out based on income is a bit more aggressive this time around. For example, with the last check, if you made $100,000, you could have potentially received a portion of that check. It wouldn't have been a lot, but you could have received a portion. Whereas in this third stimulus check, if you make $100,000, you most likely will not qualify for anything. As of right now, stimulus checks are set to possibly go out as early as next month. This will, of course, depend on how the next steps of this budget reconciliation process go. But that is kind of the rough timeline that lawmakers have thrown out. And if we can get this bill passed, by March 14th, which is the current goal that lawmakers have set for themselves, then we could potentially see checks being sent out by the end of March. But it definitely is an aggressive timeline, an aggressive goal to aim for. In addition to stimulus checks, we are also seeing an expansion on PUA, or Pandemic Unemployment Assistance. As of right now, PUA is set to $300 per week, meaning you can collect your state benefits plus an additional $300 per week. This also makes it so unemployment is accessible to people who traditionally would not be able to receive it, people like gig workers, independent contractors, and self-employed individuals. With this newest stimulus package that just passed last night, the benefit would be extended till August, and it would also be increased to $400 per week. So you would be able to collect $100 more than what you may be collecting currently as of right now. Now, again, this is all contingent on the bill passing and contingent on the bill not changing, but my prediction is the details of PUA most likely will not change, but it will be interesting to see how this is approached in the Senate once the bill gets passed on. This bill also includes a child tax credit. Now, the exact details of this child tax credit is something that is still up for debate. There is discussions of having it be monthly payments for people who have children, and there is also the debate of just having it be a flat rate tax credit credit at the end of the year. It is unclear exactly which way this will go. It's also unclear exactly how this will be approached if you're somebody who has just recently had children in 2021 within the last couple of months. And so stay tuned for the exact details on that. But as of right now, the child tax credit is included. So if you're somebody who has children, not only do you get the potential $1,400 stimulus check on behalf of your child, you also could potentially have access to that pretty substantial child tax credit as well. The exact details are still yet to be seen, but we will be hearing about that in the coming weeks. Now, the one policy that was actually included in the stimulus package that was passed on last night, but will almost without a doubt not make it into the final version of the bill, is the $15 minimum wage. Now, as you guys know, President Joe Biden announced the effort of trying to raise the minimum wage to $15 per hour on a federal level. This is something that has gotten pushback since the moment that he announced those plans, and it was included in the stimulus relief package. Now, ever since the process of budget reconciliation has been announced, and ever since this process has began as a way to get this package passed, the debate of whether or not a minimum wage increase could be included in this bill has been something that has been heavily discussed because of the fact that bills can only be passed through the process of budget reconciliation if they have a direct impact on spending and budget related issues in the government. And there is a real debate that the $15 minimum wage does not have a direct impact. And this was solidified last week, or earlier this week, I should say, when the Senate parliamentarian ruled that this could not be included. Now, the Senate parliamentarian is one of the people who's kind of overseeing this process, ensuring that the items that are being included in this bill are actually items that are allowed to be included based off of the rules of budget reconciliation. And the Senate parliamentarian did rule last week that a $15 minimum wage did not meet the required guidelines that it had to meet in order to be included into this bill. Now, this is where we have some tricky days ahead because of the fact that the Senate parliamentarian ruled that $15 minimum wage cannot be included, which means that once this $1.9 trillion stimulus package goes to the Senate, it will almost without a doubt have the $15 minimum wage taken out. But the problem is the House voted on this bill with the $15 minimum wage included, which means that the House voted on a stimulus package last night. It was passed. It's then going to be passed to the Senate, which it will then get stripped of at least the $15 minimum wage. It may be stripped of more items as well. And then it will have to be sent back to the House for another vote, and then that will get sent back to the Senate for another vote. So basically, because of the fact that the $15 minimum wage was taken out, which quite honestly is not a surprise, this is something that has been debated on for really since the moment that it was announced. It's not surprising that it was taken out. It's not surprising that it was pushed back on. But basically, because of the fact that the $15 minimum wage was taken out, it has prolonged this entire process. It has made extra steps into the process, and it has complicated the process as well. So again, just for clarification, the $15 per hour minimum wage was included in this bill that was passed last night, but that does not mean that it's going to be included in the final version. In fact, it most definitely will not be included. And what will end up happening is this provision, this section of the bill, will end up being stripped from the bill entirely, and it will either be replaced with something different or it will just be left out as a whole. And that brings us to the plan B of the stimulus bill, and that is instead of doing a $15 minimum wage, putting a provision in there saying that if large corporations do not pay their employees an appropriate rate, they will be penalized with a 5% tax penalty. And as the severity of them not paying their employees enough, either by time or by pay, I'm not sure exactly how that will be measured, that tax penalty will be increased. Now, this is something that is being thrown around by Democratic lawmakers, and it is by no means something that is set in stone. It's by no means something that I would say is super reputable at this point, but it is something that has been reported on by a number of different sources. In fact, one of Chuck Schumer's aides has said that this is something that Senator Chuck Schumer has explored. This is something that Democratic leader Nancy Pelosi is talking about, and it is something that lawmakers are exploring. Now, whether this will happen or not, I'm not sure the exact details details, like what is the definition of a large company, what is the tax penalty in greater detail, what is the pay rate that they would be required to pay their employees. I would be very curious to know what the details of this plan B would be. But there are discussions of implementing some sort of alternative plan now that the $15 minimum wage will be taken out of the final version of this bill. But with that being said, you guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video and I hope that you found it informative. At the end of the day, we are still a bit ways away from getting any sort of substantial stimulus package passed because of the fact that this bill has to go from the House to the Senate, then it's going to go back to the House, then it's going to go back to the Senate, then it has to go to President Joe Biden's desk if at that point everything is agreed upon. So we still have a bit of time before anything is passed and before anything is set in stone. But like always, you guys, I would love to hear your thoughts. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, if you have anything to add, leave a comment down below. If you guys are interested in learning more about this package in greater detail, I do have a lot of videos where I've broken down the concepts and the different funding and the different programs of the bill in much greater detail. And once the bill is passed in full, I will also be doing a more in-depth detailed video as well. But for the time being, I just kind of wanted to scratch the surface, give you guys an update without going into all of the weeds of what this bill includes. But while you're at it, make sure to hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell. And I'll see you guys in the next video.